Refresh. Can you able to see? Refresh. So we are live now.
Sir.
So it's around 149 are watching right now.
Okay, sir.
So you can just start, sir.
Shall I start now, sir? Right now?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So can you mute the Pavitra ma'am? I think it's noisy also.
One second. Yeah, just muted everyone. So good evening, everyone. So this is I'm Dinesh Gajendran, the founder and executive director of founder and executive. One second. One second, sir. I'm just doing. One second. Just 1 second, sir. 2 minutes. Mute. Yeah, I think we are fine now. So I'll just start so that good evening, everyone. This is Dinesh Gajendran, the founder and executive director of Audacious Dreams Foundation. So we are glad to collaborate with Patrician College on giving the technical and execution support. So I'd like to give the floor to Dr. R.M. Durayarasan, who is a research coordinator for Patrician College. So he will introduce Dr. V. Aral Murugan, who is our resource person. It's over to you, sir, Dr. Durayarasan.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, everyone. It's indeed a great pleasure for me to introduce our resource person for the day, Dr. V. Arul Murugan, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, and who is also the placement coordinator for the School of Management, Pondicherry University, Karikal campus since 2009. He has completed his PhD in Commerce in the University of Madras. He has 18 years of teaching and research experience from University of Madras, Manonmuniam Sundaranar University, and Pondicherry University. He has guided 14 pre-doctoral research scholars and 82 postgraduate students. He is specialized in commerce science, especially in e-commerce, e-banking, SPSS, AMAS, Stata, EU, etc. He is also the co-director for a ICSSR major research project. He has also received 28 awards and recognition, and also received the Best Teachers Award for 6 times from Pondicherry University. Has received the Best Young Social Scientist Award for 2020 from the VC of Manonmuniam Sundaranar University. He has also received the Best NSS Program Officer Award for 2020 from the District Collector of Pondicherry, and received many other notable awards and recognition. To sum up, he is an inspirational speaker, a writer, scientific researcher, data analyst, career counselor, and a socio-technocrat. We are happy to have such a wonderful and eminent speaker ready to share his knowledge with us. I extend my best wishes to all participants to use this FDP and get maximum benefits for their career development. Now the session hand over to our resource person, Dr. V. Arul Murugan. Thank you.
So good afternoon and vanakkam. Thanks to Dr. R.M. Durayarasan and the technical team and entire Partition College Research Committee for inviting me to be a resource person for your FDP. And also I like to thank all the participants who are on YouTube Live, who is looking for a kind of information to take home end of the day. And I do understand that we are staying at home and webinars are knocking our door. Let us use it in a useful manner. And the FDP, I just tell you that FDP, it is on 2 days. That is, session 1 will be today and session 2 will be today as per the invitation, you may know it. And it is on project proposal for funding agencies. And exclusively, we are going to try on UGC Stride and ICSSR Impress. And 2 sessions we have planned accordingly. 1 session will be on the preparation of the project proposal, that is for funding agencies. And the second day, we'll be concentrating on how to submit the project proposal in the to the funding agencies, that is submission protocol. So these are the two different sessions we are going to have, because understanding the preparation and submission protocol in a short span of time, it will be very difficult, but it can be made very easy. And I do understand that most of you are faculty members of different science and social science streams, and also the researchers, budding researchers or PhD scholars, whom you may be in need of doing research in the future, as well as to submit, because what today it is requiring is we may be good at research, but ultimately we need some financial assistance and financial support to do our research in a systematic and scientific way. If you want to do a scientific way of research, ultimately we involve time and cost, and that cost can be borne by the funding agencies. We do have a lot of funding agencies across the world and in India to help us. And exclusively in this COVID-19 pandemic situation, even ICSSR has called up for a special funding, what you call it, a support for projects. And I think the submission date has been over yesterday, but still there are so many things which we can do it. And when you want to, because when you want to do a research, it will be quite easy if you get your what you call as financial support. In that angle, like the Patrician College Research Committee has decided with Durai, who has been constant link with me for so many years. And we have worked out that it can be like an opportunity for every researcher to get into such kind of funding agency research. With this short note, I'll move on to the presentation, and the second slide, which shows my commitment towards research for past 17 years. I think the technical person, Dinesh, I think now you can show the slide, whereby the participants who are in the live also can follow me. They can follow my words, and I mean the voice as well as the slides. Thanks a lot. So now I am in the second slide. So maybe I can say the slide name, whereby we can comfortably understand.
So one second, sir. I'm just muting everyone so that you can unmute yourself. There was few people have not muted, so I'm just muting everyone. I've logged the meeting, and then maybe you can unmute now. You can unmute now, and then I can share the session. I've just logged the meeting room, so now I'm just sharing the session. One second.
Dinesh sir, I'm able to see the slides, not
I'm just sharing the session. Yeah, I'm just sharing the session.
Okay, please. Participant, bear with us. We'll resume back.
Yeah, can you able to see the slide, sir?
Yeah, I'm able to see the slide, but I'm able to see my voice, able to see the video. Is it okay?
Yeah, fine, sir. We can able to see that. You can proceed, sir.
Then I can go ahead with the presentation. It's not a show. So, dear participants, and the entire research knowledge which I have gained in the past 17 years with little understanding of the research, and the research knowledge which I gained from my own research group, Professor Ranganathan sir, who was with the University of Madras. So the entire credit, what I'm going to deliver for next 2 days in the webinar, the entire submission goes to my guru and my co-researcher, Dr. A. Shankaran sir, who is the project director of research funding research which we have submitted. So ultimately, what I mean to say is that we need to do a scientific research, and we need to be a scientific researcher and data analyst to look into. But today, what I'm going to do is I want to make it very clear that even a normal person who knows what is research can also execute this task. It is not that much complicated. So I'm moving on to the slide number 3, which means that we need to understand why research proposal writing is required. I am moving on to the slide 3. Thank you. So the most important thing is that I want to know what is your expectations and why you need it. Maybe what is your expectation, in the sense, like I can guess myself that all researchers who are a faculty member in an institution or a PhD scholar who are going to be faculty members in the future in the universities and what you call as national reputed the universities and institution in higher education, learning and research. So ultimately, you will be looking for the research proposal writing And before we start understanding that, we need to know why you need it. And that means that you need to understand what is research proposal. In my opinion, a research proposal is a systematic plan to execute your research. In a simple sense that it is not that as a rule of thumb we do our own research. We need to follow certain scientific procedures to make our research in a better way, where the global understanding can happen, because the global reach will be there for your findings only we do scientific research, which are leading funding agencies. And when we look into the purpose of proposal research, I'm moving on to the slide number 5, where we need to understand there are what do you call it as maybe to the next slide. So the purpose of what you call it as the proposal writing, and if you look in, there are 5 important purposes why we need to understand the proposal writing. One is for research degree. So if you want to get a research degree, you can apply. Maybe if you want to do a PG, you want to do an MPhil, you want to do a PhD, or you want to do a postdoctoral, you need to write the research proposal. Number 2, if you want to go for any presentation, if you want to prepare any paper or a seminar or a conference, you need to prepare a research proposal, but we don't normally do that. And number 3, if you are going for a research article to be published in a national or international journals, edited volumes, books, proceedings, so ultimately you need to go for the research proposal. And maybe if you want to present a paper in a seminar, conferences or symposium, you need to prepare a research proposal to do a research. But the most important is that whenever you want to apply for any research project, whether it is a minor, micro, seed money project or a major project, ultimately we need to go ahead. Whenever we look into the research projects, there are 2 levels. One is national level and international research projects are there at present. And moving on to the slide number 7. Moving on to slide number 7, so which will give a clarity. Maybe the next slide. Next slide, sir. Yeah. So there are 3 components which I'm going to discuss today. One is what is research, and number 2, who are the funding agencies, and we'll be concentrating on 2 important funding agencies in India, which are very popular and which are been doing funding for researchers for long years. And we'll be concentrating one of the important things called as research proposal preparation today, and research proposal submission protocol. We will look into the second session tomorrow. And end of the session, I assure you that you will be in a position to practically prepare your research proposal. I'll be working on it. So moving on to the basic things, I do understand. We are moving on to the 8th slide. The most important thing is that any researcher can understand the research in a better way, but still we need to understand what is the scientific research, what normally any research organizations or any funding agencies look for. So they are looking for 5 important things in their mind. Whether the research is researching any previous information, that normally they look for. And number 2, whether the research proposal is giving any funding or finding any new things. That is what they are looking for. And number 3, they are looking for any fact-finding process. That is more important. So any research has to find the fact. It is not that simply you describe what is there, and we need to find the trueness of the research. And the research, the funding agencies normally look for any problems that research proposal carry, or if your research proposal is going to find some solution out of it. And end of the day, the funding agencies will be normally looking for scientific method, not rule of thumb. You know that rule of thumb is doing research by ourselves. But globally, the funding agencies normally look for any research proposal which has a scientific method, which I'll be describing in a short span of time. And when we look into the research types, that we need to understand that entire research can be divided into 2, in my opinion, practically. Even though a lot of bookish informations are available, n number of research types are there. One is descriptive research, the other one is analytical research. In the sense, like if you are going to explain anything which is as it is, then it is called as descriptive. If you are going to put your mind onto that, and if you are going to do some what you call it as analysis out of your own perception and a scientific techniques or methods or tools, then it is called as analytical or empirical research. But even the same thing can be called as qualitative research or even quantitative research. So ultimately what happens is, like, beyond everything, if you are going to do any research with one single unit, it can be an organization, it can be a community, it can be a what you call it as any kind of individual or a business, ultimately it is called as case studies. Even research funding agencies are funding for case studies also, if you are going to do a deepest analysis on that. So ultimately what happens is like we can do lot more things, but we need to understand these components are normally comes into a scientific research. And normally these are the some of things which we know that if any research want to be there, Dinesh sir, you can go next. So any research if you want to make it, so ultimately it should be innovative, it should be systematic, it should be logical, it should be purposive, and any research supposed to be objective, not subjective, and it should be replicable. So in the sense like any research which you want to do or any proposal which you want to prepare, it should be scientific. And now you may be wondering what is the difference between research and scientific research. And if you are able to view it clearly from my presentation next for a few minutes, you'll understand exactly what is scientific research. Moving on to slide number 9. I'm saying the slide number because to make audience to be understandable and the technical person to operate. And which I mean to say is the second part we need to understand is the scientific research process, which is more important. Maybe in your understanding, when you have completed your PhD or MPhil or postdoctoral, you would have read so many books on research, and even my own professor has written a book on social science research. And ultimately what happens, they'll be having only 5 or 6 steps, but the scientific research process involves 10 steps, as we have 10 fingers in a hand. So ultimately, if you want to do effectively, there should be 10 steps. I'm not going to spend much time on it because everybody knows it, but still I need to tell you in a small sense, in a practical way. So these 10 steps has to be in the sense like you have to define the research problem, in the sense like you have to find exactly what is the research title you are supposed to going to work. That is more important, because if you find a right scientific research title, whether it is science or social science, 50% of your research can be completed. But what most of us make a mistake is that we may not be in a position to find out. Maybe end of my presentation, the last 15 minutes we'll be spending practically that how to identify a research title, how to draft objectives, how to bring hypotheses, and how to draft our methodology, how to plan our methodology. Once these 3 things are ready, then ultimately we can collect the data. Once your data is collected, we need to go for analysis. Today, there are so many softwares are available, so many what you call it as tools are available, which we need to understand that also. And later, after completing everything, you need to prepare a report, which we need to submit for evaluation, and which you need to go for a presentation in a seminar or a conference, where you need to accommodate the suggestions of the what you call it as the experts. And once you got it, prepare it as a research article, then you can go ahead with the publications in national or international journal. And ultimately, you need to go for further research. You should not stop the research. For example, we have recently completed a project, and through that we got one more what you call it as the finding. And from that findings, we are able to generate another research, and we have sent it for the further funding agencies. So this is what the ultimate 10 important steps: defining the research problem, drafting objectives and hypothesis, methodology, data collection, data analytics, report writing, submission for evaluation, presentation, publication, and further research is the what you call as the mantra, the 10 important key mantra of a scientific research process. So I think till now, we are able to understand that how to do a scientific research. The next basic thing which every person has to understand is the slide number 10. Every person has to understand is what is the scientific research approach. And mostly, I want to spend 2 minutes on this. Mostly, we have a lot of problems, a lot of inconvenience in finding, in starting a research. Everybody is good at, everybody knows it. You would have heard the research in your degrees. After degrees, you would have read for UGC, NET examination, you have prepared. So many things are there, even you started guiding. But I'm going to tell you a simplest version of research. In my opinion, doing research is fun. That is what I normally look in. And Dr. Ram is nothing but me, Dr. V. Arulmurugan, that I have created a scientific approach to research. Here, doing research is fun. When I say that, many people may even have a what you call as some kind of apprehension that, wow, it's hard. How can we do that? But ultimately, in my opinion, this fun, if you enjoy doing research, you can do n number of create n number of proposals with the methodology which I'm going to tell you very practically. Thereby, you can send it to funding agencies and you can receive funding for that, and that can help you to get a job or even to get your CAS, I mean, promoted to a higher education and research. And the most important, that you can contribute to the what you call it as the policy makers. Here, the fund, I have a different meaning, which I want to tell you. From reverse, if you go on, N stands for novelty. Please bear in mind, N stands for novelty. So whenever you take any research issues, any research idea, any research, if you want to start, please make understand whether it is novel. That is more important. Here, novelty, I mean, even the specialized people in marketing, Philip Kotler sir has said that what is new in his marketing book. I'm going to take two out of that new for the research. One new is entirely new, entirely novel, which somebody has not done already. But is it easy? It is the biggest question mark in doing a research. And the second new, what I'm going to tell you is anything modified from existing. That is what is new. So if you are able to, and that is the third which he has said, if any product or services is available in one market, if it is available in the another market, then that is new. That is for marketing. But in research, that cannot be accepted. Mostly we want to do innovative research, novel research. So first and foremost things which you need to understand is whether my research is novel, my proposal is novel. And number two, most important, utility. U stands for utility. Utility in the sense like it should be useful for three important people. One, three important stakeholders. One, it should be useful for the researcher. Whether I'm going to get any degree out of it, whether I'm going to get any project out of it, so whether I'm going to get anything benefit out of my professional life, that is the first utility. Second utility is that it should help the society. It should be socially relevant suggestions and findings. Our research findings out of the proposal should be useful to the society. That is more important. And number three is highly important. If you want to reach the entire society, your findings through your proposal and the research should support the policymakers. That is more important. And the more important here, beyond utility, is the last one, F. F stands for feasibility. That is more important. In the sense like most of us take whatever topic which comes in, sometimes our supervisor give an idea to do this, or our core research scholar will give an idea to do a research, or we may seek from the Google Scholar, and we will start our research. And when we go ahead with that, we need to check out our feasibility also. When I say feasibility, it also has three important components in it. Number one, whether I am able to generate, whether I can get resources to complete my research. That is what more important. One is resources. Number two, to collect the resources, we need to have time, whether I can get time to collect it. Because if you want to do any research, there is a time frame. Any research has a time frame. You cannot do a research for 10 years, 20 years, which will take a lot of time. If you want to get a degree, every university has its own time frame. If you want to go and apply for a funding agency, it has its own time frame, which I'm going to tell you. So ultimately, like feasibility of cost and feasibility of time is more important. And the third one is feasibility of cost. The most important why we have this FTP is that we can have resources, we can have time, but the most important thing is that today the research, if you want to do it in an ethical way, requires certain amount of cost. It involves certain amount of cost, which sometimes if you are comfortable enough, you can put your own cost and do independent projects. But mostly, if you want to, there are funding agencies that Government of India has given us for a long time. And internationally, we have a lot of funding agencies which will help you to provide support, and we can make it out. So that means that novelty, utility, and feasibility. When it comes to feasibility, the cost matters. And because of that only, we have this FPP to tell you that how to get that funding. And if you have a scientific proposal, research proposal in your hand, you can do research as fun. We'll move on to the next segment. The most important thing is that, can I move on to the next slide, please? Slide number 11. So next thing which we need to, till now we have understood what is scientific research. We understood scientific process. Number 3, we understood scientific research approach. Dinesh sir, can I move on to the next slide? Funding agencies for research projects. Yeah, thank you. Funding agencies for research projects. So when you look into the funding agencies, most of us, we get a lot of inputs, but I make it very simple. And within 1 hour, I cannot give you the entire list what is available. Maybe this PPT can be shared to all the participants, where I have given a lot of links here. That links can be used to know the funding agencies, but we are restricting to 2 funding agencies. One is UGC and ICSSR, which is mostly reputed, and all the researchers has a, what you call as an apprehension to look into and get the grab the funding from them. If you look into the research funding agencies, there are 2 kind of funding agencies. We have, one is Indian research funding agencies, the other one is international research funding agencies. When you look Indian research funding agencies, before we look in, we'll go to international research funding agencies. There are so many, for example, WTO, there are what you call as UNO, then World Bank, IMF. So there are so many funding agencies in the international level that we are getting funding agencies, which I have listed out in the link. One tough time, I'm skipping that funding agencies because our intention is to prepare and to know how the scientific research proposal can be prepared, whereby you can apply to any funding agencies in the future based on their requirement. So basic things which we learn, whereby you can what you call as adjust or make it flexible, and you can add and delete, and ultimately you can prepare according to the requirement and you can send it. And most important, as an Indian, we have a lot of Indian funding agencies which we can work out. Now, moving on to the next slide, I think this PPT will be given to you, whereby you can click down the link and you can go ahead. And 2 important funding agencies that we are going to look out today and tomorrow is UGC and ICSSR. Maybe before I get into, I want to give you a slight orientation on this. For those people, I know some of you would have applied, some of you would have waiting for your results, some of you are already completed projects, some of you are doing projects, that is, the projects are in progress. But this may be an introductory or orientation for those young researchers like faculty members and PhD scholars who want to be in the future to be a researcher with the funding agencies. Can have the clarity. It changes time to time also. But the current version, if you take UGC, UGC is giving 2 important projects. One, they call it as both UGC and ICSSR, gives 2 important projects. One is minor research project and major research project. When I say minor research projects, the difference between minor and major is based on 2 important components. One is the amount the fund is supported. Number 2, the maximum period that project has to be completed. When I say UGC, the minor research projects, they are giving to the maximum of 3 lakhs and the maximum of 2 years period. If it is a major research project, they are giving 15 lakhs and the year of completion, that is the funding period, may be 3 years. And when it comes to ICSSR, the minor research, they are giving 5 lakhs and it is for 1 year, and major research projects, it is 15 lakhs for 2 years. So depending on our comfortability and the period, we can select the funding agency. And another one major difference between these 2 funding agencies is that in the UGC funding projects, research projects, the researchers are normally called as investigators. And normally the first investigator can be called as principal investigator, and the team of investigators, others can be called as co-principal investigators. And in the ICSSR, we have what you call as named as project director, and the co-team may be called team members or called as project co-directors. So minimum you can have 2 co-principal investigator, 2 project coordinator. That is what I was working with ICSSR with one of the project director, and I was a project co-director. So ultimately, like we can do a lot more research on this. This is a simple difference based on the the amount of project funded as well as the maximum period which is allowed. With this small note, we will move on to the core aspect of what you called as research proposal. Moving on to the next slide, please. So ultimately, what is happening is like we need to understand, as just now I was saying that, in my opinion, research proposal is a systematic plan to execute research scientifically. In the previous slide, I was saying that it is a systematic plan to execute a research. But now I have added that scientifically, systematically. So already I have told you there are so many steps involved. And now I'm going to practically tell you that whenever you want to prepare a research proposal, these are the common thing which every researcher is supposed to prepare. To begin with, all these components, like first we need to decide about title of the study. That is more important. So when you want to prepare the title of the study, title of the research, so now I can tell you that how it can be prepared for your information. Number one, there are two methods involved out of my 17 years of experience in research, that many people have approached me, sir, can you suggest me a title for my research, whether for PhD or doing any funding projects. But the most important thing is that I am able to devise a mechanism that two methods, alternative methods are there. One, idea-based review. That is the one method, idea-based review. What is that idea-based review? Let me explain. See, any idea you can generate. Yeah. So, yeah, are you able to hear now? Yeah. If you are from any discipline, you should find an area where you can be interested. So you should find an interested area. That is more important. Once you find an interested area, and for example, if you like a food, you enjoy and eat it. The same way, for example, if you like ice cream, you enjoy and eat it. That is more important. If you like chocolate, you enjoy and eat it. So if you want to really enjoy, have fun out of your research, you need to find out an interested area in your research domain. For example, my interested area in commerce is logistics science. That's the most important thing which I work on. Technology. That is why I mean to say how to think commerce in a scientific way. I'm just working on. That is an interested version, interested perception which I'm working on. So first you have to find out what is your interested area. Once you find out the interested area, then what you have to do is you have to think an idea out of it. What is an idea? An issue, a thing which you need to grab up. So once you conceive your idea, then you have to review whether any research has been already done. Collect 5 to 6 related reviews. Then you will have a clarity that how they have done that. And whereby you can generate an idea. The second way of finding an idea is, if you are blank, no, I'm not having any idea now, my mind is blank. So if you are doing like that, what you have to do is, you have to review it. So you have to go and collect the literature, previous published articles. Once you start collecting previous published articles, when you start reading certain things, like what is the title, like what is the the research gap they are going to work on, what is their objectives, what is their methodology, what is the tools they are going to use it, what is the major findings they have, what is the research gap they have. If you prepare a statement like that, then there is a possibility. With these two methods, idea-based review, review-based idea, you can ultimately find out the research gap, interested scientific research gap, which you can formulate as a statement and you can get your title. And whenever you frame your title, please be clear that today title has to be framed with a research variable, not with the research samples. So a research variable in the sense, one idea, one thing, one variable is what is called a research. For example, if you want to find out the attitude of people staying at home in the COVID-19, then attitude is your research variable. If you want to find out the perception of people staying at home in COVID-19, then ultimately that perception is a research variable. You want to find out the behavioral pattern of people staying at home in the period of lockdown, that is COVID-19. Ultimately, that behavior pattern may be your research thing. So once you have found it out, you need to dig on it and you need to frame the research title. Then you have to prepare an introduction. To explain your title, you should give at least one page, that is 200, 300 words of introduction about that. And that then you have to minimum, in your proposal, minimum 10 articles related, 10 research articles which have been done in different parts of the world by the different researchers in a different time frame. For example, 1930, I am able to find a research paper where I have generated my research idea when I was doing my PhD in Harvard Business Review. One article which I am able to find it from my own Pondicherry University library. So that has given me an idea where to do a research on logistics science. So ultimately what happens is, like, review of literature is more important. Once you form the review of literature, find the research gap. Find the research gap. Once you find the research gap, you have to draft it as a research problem. You have to prepare your statement of problem. Once you know the statement of problem, you need to define exactly where you are going to limit your research. That is what is called as scope of study. Once these things are ready, focusing on the title, you should frame objectives. My dear friends, focusing on the title. If the title is to find out, just now you have discussed an example. If the title is to find out, or we are going to make a study on the behavioral pattern of persons staying at home in the COVID-19, if you want to study that, it should breaken up. It should be broken up, and it can be minimum, in my opinion, 3 to 5 objectives. It will be well and good when you go for funding agencies. Minimum 3, maximum 5 objectives. Not more than, not less than. Maybe if you are saying behavioral pattern, you can understand the awareness. So there is a kind of, maybe all our researchers, you know that there is a kind of method to write, a format to write your objectives, to study, to analyze, to describe, to evaluate, to enumerate, to elucidate, to find out, to suggest. So there are so many things. Maybe you can study the awareness level of COVID-19 people staying at home. You can find out the perception on that. Number 3, you can find out their attitude. You can find out what influenced them to stay back in the home, what influenced them to go out of the home. So anything can be taken into consideration. So if ultimately I have framed 5 objectives. Once your objectives are framed, you can also frame hypotheses. That is more important. Today, research organizations are looking for your hypothesis. See, hypotheses are not mandatory, but if you have your hypothesis, ultimately that will guide your research. So what is hypothesis? It's a predetermined answer. So predetermined, what you call it as the solution for your objective. So every objective can have minimum one hypothesis, which you can take it out. Technically, statistically, people talk about null hypothesis, alternative hypothesis. You can still work on it. So once your title is ready, objectives is ready, and your hypothesis is ready, the next thing which you need to concentrate is methodology. When you concentrate how till now we have decided or we have prepared what to do, and now we are going to do how to do. So when I say methodology, please understand any research, as I told you, either it can be descriptive or it can be analytical, that is empirical. That you have to mention what is the type of your, we need to find out what is the type of our research. Number 2, in the proposal, we need to mention that what is the sources of data which we are going to make it. Whether we are going to do research with primary data or the secondary data, that has to be clearly mentioned. I think many of you know that any data which is already existing, published, are called as secondary data. Any data which is what you call it as, which is you are going to find out, or researcher is going to find out, we are going to find out for the first time, that it is called as primary data. If you are going for a secondary data, then you need to decide whether how much time, whether you are going to take time series data, whether you are going to take cross-sectional data, and from which what you call as the reliable source you are going to get the data, which organization you are going to get the data, and with authority you are going to get the data, and how much period you are going to get the data, what statistical tools or mathematical model you are going to use it, and what kind of software you are going to use it. So those informations we need to be aware. For that, you need to attend more workshops on data analytics, whereby that will give you more clarity, in-depth clarity. If time permits, in the future, we can plan for that also. So you can also join me in that webinar whenever I'm doing somewhere. So ultimately, so we need to think of, if it is a primary data, we need to work on that. Most important thing is that we need to think of who is our sample, what is our sample size, who is our population. That's more important. And when you say sample size, which you can decide. And number three, we should think of sampling techniques. There are probability sampling techniques, there are non-probability sampling techniques. Which sampling techniques you are going to take, which non-probability sampling you are going to take. So ultimately, you need to concentrate on that. Then you need to find out data collection tool, whether you are going to use questionnaire, whether you are going to use interview schedule. So that you have to decide. And most importantly, you have to decide what are the statistical tools you are going to use, what are the statistical packages you are going to use, whether you are going to use univariate analysis, bivariate analysis, multivariate analytics. For example, you need to tabulate your data, you need to chart your data, you need to use your percentage analysis, you can use your mean score analysis. If it is a scaled data, use mean score analysis and ranking. If it is an unscaled data, use a percentile analysis. For hypothesis testing, if you want to find out association, use chi-square test. If you want to find out the differences, you can use t-test and ANOVA. If you want to find out the factors, use factor analysis. If you want to cluster your respondents, use cluster analysis. Go for reliability analysis, or you can go for multiple regression analysis, multiple discriminant analysis, neural network analysis, SEM. There are so many softwares like SPSS, AMOS, Grittle, eViews, or MATLAB. So there are so many softwares also available. So in a data analytics workshop, you can plan that. But in the research proposal, we should be very clearly mentioning in our methodology what techniques, tools we are going to make it. And the most important thing is that they will be looking on what is the social relevance of the study in any proposal, which normally we are not working out. That is more important. Most of us fail to write this column, social relevance of the study. That is more important. So next point, please click the next point, brother. So ultimately, social relevance of the study is more important. How our study is going to help the society, that we need to clearly draft in our proposal. And the other one is option, limitations of the study. So if you are able to grab what is the limitations, you can mention. If you are unaware, just leave. There is no need to bother about limitation. If you give it, fine. But ultimately, it is not necessary to give it in a proposal. It is optional. And most important, chapter design. In a proposal, we need to give the chapter design. In my opinion, out of my own experience and the guidance of my own research group, Professor Ranganathan sir, he says that minimum 5 chapters can be there. The first chapter can be introduction, the conceptual clarity on our topic. Number 2, it can be literature review. Number 3, it can be on the conceptual clarity. Number 4, it can be on the analysis. When you go for analysis, we need to make objective-based analysis. Don't go with tool-based analysis chapter presentation. Go for objective-based. For example, if you have a 5 objectives, you can have a 5 chapters. Or if you want to minimize it, you can have two objectives in one, 3 objectives in another one, or 2 objectives and 1 objectives in 3 chapters. Left to you. Go ahead according to the objectives. Chapters on the objective angle. Don't look on the analytical angle. So that is more important, which will have a clarity. Which will have a clarity with the what you call as the readers of the proposal. And we need to give references. So ultimately, today plagiarism is in a bigger way. So whenever we write, we need to write our own proposal. When we write our own proposal, we may be referring the earlier research publications. Whenever you refer the earlier research publications, relevant content of admissible non-plagiarized information can be taken. Protocol of plagiarization also can be followed, and you can acknowledge them with full detail with the help of APA format, which American Psychology Association referencing format, or there are so many other things depending on your discipline. You can give your references. So ultimately, these are the common research proposal which you have to prepare before, and probably it may be for what you call it as 5 pages to 10 pages. If you are able to have it, then you are, in my opinion, 60% of your scientific research is ready, and 90% of the approval is ready with the funding agencies. We will move on to the next slide. So now in this slide, I have 2 formats. One I told you, that a UGC research proposal format given for a major and minor research projects by UGC. In the right side, I have ICSSR research proposal format, which is given for my minor and major projects. Please see, just before I was telling you in the previous slide, what is a general research proposal that one should be ready. Once you are ready, then you can fill all those information in this format. For example, you see what they are asking. 6 things they are asking in UGC research proposal format and 10 things they are asking in ICSSR research proposal format. Both are same. The only thing is that the format is different. The content what we have discussed, the title, the research gap, the literature review, the objectives, the hypothesis, the methodology, social relevance, chapter design, then references, everything can be. For example, a little difference what we have discussed from the previous to the new one. When we look into the UGC research proposal, which I have plotted in the left side of your screen, they are looking for project title. I'll be telling you how to do that in final. Then in the introduction, they are looking for origin of the research problem and how it has an interdisciplinary relevance in both the funding agencies. Now they are not looking for any research only with one dimension. Interdisciplinary relevance is nothing but looking at research in a different dimension. For example, recently the project which we are working is economics and commerce, and we have tied up with sociology. Now I am tying up with the computer science faculty. Now I am tying with the management faculty to prepare the proposal. So different dimensions you can give. And the review of research, normally every research institute, they are looking for international studies or international status, national status or national studies. They want a different segment. You should not club everything. So international reviews you have to mention separately. Indian research you have to mention separately. And most important thing is that how far your research proposal is going to help significance of the study, which has to be mentioned. And the objectives and hypotheses, I told you, no, all the people are the funding agencies are looking for objectives and hypotheses. And in the methodology, as I told you before, they are looking for sample design, data collection tool, pilot study, tools for analysis, sources of information, social relevances of the study, and including reference. If you go to ICSSR, see, UGC funding is more for science and social sciences. When you go for ICSSR, it is more of social science research. They are looking more, slight difference over there is format is slightly different, but the content is same. So if you are going to apply for minor research or major research in the UGC and to the ICSSR, this is the format which we need to follow. It is easy because everyone knows about the research. Everyone knows what is the content to be written. And if you have any doubts, maybe tomorrow you can ask me what is exact content. If you want it written in any of the components, I can explain you very clearly. So with this format, I'm moving on to the next slide. If it is a major and minor research, what is the process which is involved, which I am supposed to tell you? Sorry. The thing is that first we need to have a research proposal. Till now, that is what we have discussed. So if you are going to apply for UGC, prepare your research proposal in that format. If you are going to apply for ICSSR, prepare that research proposal in that format. And the most important is propose the research budget. So if it is a practical workshop, I can show you the entire budget, and even I can tell you how to calculate the heads. So I have given the link. Go to the link and see that what is the budget and what are the information they are looking for. And number 3, we need to prepare a project summary. What is project summary? A 1 page, a 200 words, exactly including everything in a shorter version is what is called as project summary, because they may not be in a position to read the entire proposal, which has to be given in a snapshot, which is should be there in the project summary. 3 things you need to prepare: research proposal, propose the research budget, project summary. Beyond that, the 4th one which you need to have is the biodata or the curriculum vitae of the project director and the project principal investigator. There is no restriction for that. N number of pages it can go. Give importance to your research, what do you call it, research endeavors. Give importance to your research achievements. Maybe you can mention about the papers published, research article published, if you have written any books, if you have done any projects already. So that will give you what you call it as the edge over in selection of your research proposal. And number 5, you are supposed to have an institutional letter. That means that whenever you are submitting your proposal, research proposal, project, you need to send it through what you call as formal way. You need to send it through your institutional head. So for that, you need to prepare your proposal, submit your research in your organization, getting the institution letter. The format is available in the website of both the organizations. You can do it. And finally, we cannot send all this. We have to have a covering letter, which is more important. Many of the people are not doing it. Maybe it is simple. So you need to keep your covering letter and keep all those, and you have to send it through proper channel, and advance copy also can be sent it to the funding agency. So this is the thing which is normally followed, traditionally followed, and still today we are following for major and minor projects of ICSSR and UGC. And I need to also tell you how these proposals are approached. Very simple. When you submit your research proposal through proper channel, it will be sent to the experts in that area, and it will be shortlisted. Once your research proposal is shortlisted, then you will be called for a presentation or an interview. It may happen in person in Delhi in their office, or you may be contacted over Skype or any other medium, and you can go for an online interaction and you'll be interviewed later. If you are crossing all these appraisal process, your projects will get sanctioned, and through your institution, you will get your project. So this is which we are normally following it. And now almost it's 15 minutes which we have seen till now. And the last 10 minutes, I'm going to exactly tell you that how to prepare. Sir, can we move to the next slide? How to prepare or how to begin. The most important is, now you would have understood what is scientific research, what is scientific process, and you should have understood that what is the research proposal, how to prepare research proposal, and you should have understood that what are the format which is requested by funding agencies, and what is the appraisal process. Whatever I have told till now is still existing, and which is followed for major and minor. But there is a new scheme which has come with ICSSR and UGC, with this new government, in a different format, with the help of online submission, that is UGC Stride and ICSSR Impress. Now this UGC Stride and ICSSR Impress is just like major project, which we will be dealing how to prepare for UGC major, the UGC Stride as well as ICSSR Impress in the session number 2 tomorrow. And before that, I want to give a clarity that exactly practically how to kickstart preparing your research proposal. So let us prepare a research proposal. Maybe if you have a pen and paper, or if you please write down, not in a pen and paper, not in your mind, but in the heart, to enjoy the research. So ultimately, I'm going to have 5 more minutes to explain you clearly how to kickstart the research proposal. To do a research, you need a research proposal. To do a research proposal, to write a research proposal, to draft a research proposal, you need to have a kickstart idea. So moving on to the next slide. The most important thing is that you need to prepare 4 important components. Number 1, title of the study. See, as I told you before, please take interested area of your subject. If you are from psychology, if you are interested in clinical psychology, take it. If you are interested in counseling psychology, take it. If you are from sociology, if you are interested in the what do you call it as the closed community or an open community, so whatever choices. If you are a commerce, whether management, or if you're an economist, so ultimately major microeconomics, developmental economics, or socio-economics, or what you call it as the what do you call it as commerce, finance, marketing, HR, systems. So anything for that matter you can select. So if you are interested in an area, that's what I said. No, I'm more interested on logistics science, banking, e-banking, e-commerce, scientific commerce. This is where I work on mostly. Entrepreneurial science, behavioral science. So these are some of the interested area which I work on. So find out what your interested area, your the area where you feel, as I told you, no, the chocolate, the ice cream, which you like an area. So you select that, create an idea, go for the review, right? Review it or review it, get an idea, write down in a paper. And when you write down, it should be a statement. Today, global scientific research titles doesn't have any words on like to study, a study on, an analysis on, an evaluation on. So all those what you call as things has gone out. Straight away, you can write the statement on your research variable. Even you can skip off. For example, we write no. For example, we can give a title: a study on IT employees in the lockdown in Chennai. So this is what traditionally we write. Please remove the suffix and prefix. A study on is not necessary. IT employees behavior in lockdowns. That is enough. The what do you call it? The cases, samples also you can give it in methodology. So title can be one thin line with 5 words or 7 words, 5 to 7 words, not more than that. If you are able to make it very clearly, that is more than enough. Your title should, when I read your title, when I read or when the funding agency read the title, they should understand the entire proposal. In such a way, we need to frame a title. So, please, when you come tomorrow, take a paper. I want you to have this and send it to the organizers. Title of your research. So, one title, choice is yours. Number 2, to elaborate the title, minimum 3 to 5 objectives, maybe in the format of to study, to analyze, to elicit, to identify the factors. So 5 objectives, it should be a breakup. See, 5 objectives are research questions. Research title is a major research question you are going to answer end of the day. And objectives are the sub-research questions of your title. So objectives should be based on your title. I'll complete within 2 minutes. Objective of your title, objectives should be based on your title. So you coin 5 objectives. And after finding out that, you should write methodology. I told you, know, what are the things you need to write in methodology? Type of the study, please note down, type of the study, data sources, if it is a secondary data, period of data, the sources of data, the tools for analysis, and the software for analysis. If it is a primary data, population, sample size, sampling technique, data collection tool, statistical tool or mathematical tools to apply. This information is supposed to be there in your methodology. And tentative chapter design. If you are proposing it, what is your first chapter, second chapter name, third chapter name, fourth chapter name, fifth chapter name? First chapter and last chapter can be common. What we do normally? Introduction. And the last chapter we write summary of findings, suggestions, and conclusion. So my humble request is, with all these inputs, what I have explained today, I think I made it very clear how to select your research title. I made it very clear how to frame your objectives. I made it clear what are the informations required to be drafted in methodology. I made it clear how to propose your chapter design. So what you do is, please take a paper, write down this in one paper as a hint. Your title, 5 objectives, methodology as I told you. Again, I am repeating methodology. That is type of study, type of research, data sources. If it is primary, what are things? If it is secondary, what are things? Tools for analysis. Then chapter design, 5 chapter name. If you write it in one paper and send it to the organizers, they'll be very happy. If you are able to type it and send it. If you are unable to type, you don't have a system in the lockdown, my humble request is install CamScan in your mobile, write it in a paper, take a photo, send it to them. Or you can take a normal photo, there is no need of a CamScan, and you can send it to them. Whereby we can prepare, once you prepare the proposal, please come tomorrow in the next session where your core importance is going to happen. So today I have given what is scientific research, what is scientific research process, what is scientific research proposals, what are the funding agencies, what is now presently followed. But UGC and STRIDE has moved slightly the other way, introducing 2 new schemes, UGC STRIDE and ICSSR Impress. That exactly I'm going to tell you in the next session, that how to prepare that, what are the components, what are the format, and each component, how to prepare each component, how to draft each component, what is the online submission protocol, how you can follow up, and how you can get your research proposal. I'm going to tell you in the next session. So thanks a lot for joining. The session is open for questions. Dr. Durai and Dr. Dinesh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You can open the audience for questions.
Yeah.
So good evening.
Good evening, madam. Please.
Thank you so much for your valuable presentation. On behalf of the research committee, I extend my sincere thanks and gratitude. And I encourage all the participants to pose very specific, precise questions relating to the session only in the chat box. Due to the time frame, we are not allowing generic questions. If you have any questions, please jot it down and leave it in the chat box.
Or if anyone in the research committee want to have some clarification or want to have difference of opinion in my perception, also can share meanwhile, because all learned faculty members, my young friends and senior colleagues may be in the line. Then we can take what you call as the participants, my own good friends from YouTube Live.
I would like to place on record that the feedback so far we have received seems to be very excellent and overwhelming. People have just found the session to be very informative. So we should just, like, on behalf of the college and the research committee, thank you. Thank you so much for a very wonderful presentation, sir.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, madam.
So it looks like there are no questions in the chat box. So for all the participants, I kindly request on behalf of the committee to send across your proposal in a snippet as mentioned by a research person, so that, you know, we will have much clarity. And if you have any questions, please reserve it, because we still have one more day session to go on. And at the end of submission of the proposal, you are entitled for e-certificate on the same. Durai sir will take over. Durai sir? Is Durai sir there?
I think Durai.
Durai sir there?
Yeah, I think his video was not on. I think he must have left.
Okay.
So if any of the audience, if you have any questions, maybe we can open for one.
Madam,
or two
one or two questions, at least one or two questions from the
Yes,
YouTube Live audience.
Yes, so we have only got feedback so far. So the feedback, as I was mentioning, it seems to be.
Sir, actually, in the YouTube, you have some few questions actually in the YouTube link.
Please go ahead, Dinesh.
Yeah. Can you suggest current problem areas of research in commerce?
Yeah, great. So this is where I always look. See, as a researcher, thanks to the person in the YouTube Live who has posted that question. In my opinion, I never answer this question. And I request any supervisor not to answer this question directly, because it is our responsibility of the researchers, as I told you, that find out, see, any area in commerce or any area in any domain is getting updated every second. You know that COVID-19 has transformed everything. If you are updating yourself, you can find it. See, I can tell you n number of fields. That is why, for example, in 2006 itself, please understand, when logistics was just a word, I am able to grab that word and I am able to do my PhD research. It was not given by anybody. It is my own out of interest. So my humble request is, rather than directly asking for what is the topic, what is the contemporary area that I can do a research, it is better always select your interested domain. For example, in commerce, I just give an example. I'm not guiding you anything. I'm giving an example. Like if you are interested in banking, so when you say banking is your interested area, now you see e-banking is a developed area. When I say e-banking, cashless economy is a developed area. Now in the COVID time, you know that even Nobel laureates are saying that money has to be given in the hands of the poorest, whereby we can come out of this temporarily. How it can be done? We have only one medium called as direct cash benefit transfer. So direct cash benefit transfer is another development. So now somebody can work on that area. So don't ask for any area from any Google or from any faculty or any supervisor or anybody. What is my suggestion is that you first define your interested area. Then you think of that area. Automatically your ideas will be pouring. Then you review with Google, what you call it as search engine or Google Scholar or any database for that matter, you can generate an idea. So if anybody is suggesting, that means they are suggesting from existing. You cannot come out with a novel title. Maybe tomorrow I can tell you UGC Stride has listed out an area to send a proposal. ICSSR Impress has listed out to send a proposal. So that we will deliberate tomorrow. But today, as a researcher, the basic intention of any researcher is to identify innovative, scientific, indigenous topic for research. Dinesh sir?
You want one more question, or should we close down?
We can have one more question, then we can go ahead, because Durai is on.
Yes, sir, actually.
Yeah.
Sir, on behalf of you two participants, Pavitra ma'am will ask a question, sir. Ma'am selected.
No issues, I don't mind in the time. We can go for 5 more minutes also. I think we can take one more question. Remaining, we can have it tomorrow with all deliberation. That will be fine, I suppose.
So maybe I can take from YouTube.
Please, sir.
So,
please, sir.
So is there that funding will be restricted only for the aided colleges, or is it self-financing colleges also can apply?
Yeah. Now UGC and ICSSR has opened up any colleges which is affiliated to any universities, and even I'll give more clarity tomorrow, because that UGC Stride and ICSSR Impress is facilitating them also. So I'll be giving more clarity tomorrow, whereby you can update your information tomorrow.
Yeah.
So can I ask one question, sir?
Yeah, Durai sir, please go ahead.
From the YouTube. So is there any limitation in the number of projects funds by ICSSR each year, sir?
No, it all depends on, for example, I'll give you a big example whereby we can understand. See, I'm a person. In my packet or purse, I have a limited amount this year. Okay. So, for example, I have 10,000 today. I can, if I want to give you 1,000 rupees per person, I can give only to 10%, right? Maybe in the next year, I may have 20,000 in my packet. Maybe I can give 20 people. So it means that depending on the fund availability with the funding agency, they will decide number of projects to be sanctioned on the priority of the title. So there is no such things called as this is a fund, this many people won't be given. No, there is no any restriction.
Sir, one more from YouTube, sir.
Yeah.
Does tools for analyze play a major role in project selection?
Yeah, exactly. Tools in the sense, see, I normally tell you this example. Whenever anything should be said, It should not be said in a rule of thumb that whatever I'm saying is right. It should be said in a scientific way. For example, the best example I'll tell you. Now you may be sitting in an AC room. Suddenly, if your AC goes off, you cannot repair that AC with your fingers. Right? Only few things you can do. You should have a sufficient or adequate, what you call as equipment, tools to repair it. In the same way, a scientific research can be proved or disproved or analyzed with the help of available technical tools like statistical tools, econometric tools, then mathematical tools. If it is science, there are scientific experiments which are available, which we need to use it. Each tool is developed by experts. It has been administered globally, universally, it has been accepted. For one example, I'll tell you, I want to understand the association between or a relationship between the people who are sitting in the home in the lockdown and people who go out and come back. Whether in their attitude any association is there. Then how to check that? I need to collect data from those people who go out. I need to collect people who are in the home. And there is one statistical tool which is popularly available, which is called as chi-square test. So when I apply that chi-square test on these two, then I can find out how far these two segment of people are, whether they are same or whether they are different, which I can do as a hypothesis. This is one small example, but there are so many. If I add one more variable, then I can use what? Multivariate statistics. I can use a lot of models. Econometric models are available. Financial models are available. Psychological models, psychometric models are available. So when it is needed, qualitative tools also available. Quantitative tools also available. When we are using these tools to analyze our research, then you will get a scientific finding which will be universally accepted. That is the reason.
Thank you so much, sir. So another one from YouTube.
Please.
It is necessary to get research center approval for the department if we get the project.
There are two things, sir. When you are in a university, that is central universities, state universities, institution as a research institutes. So they don't have any problem. But when it comes to the individual college, private college, it should have a research center approval. That is what they are looking for.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Actually, there are a lot of questions, sir. Yeah.
If today's question is over, I can sum up whereby they will be ready for the next day.
The last question, sir.
Yeah, please go ahead, madam. I'm not audible.
Am I audible now, sir?
Yeah, please go ahead.
The question in the chat box. It is
Okay.
from the YouTube viewers. Actually, the question is there any specific method for the presenting the budget?
What?
Is there any specific method for presenting the budget for the proposal that we make?
Yes, madam. Yes, madam. See, actually, many researchers, faculty members, even myself in the beginning find it very difficult to what you call it as prepare that budget. Whether I can quote the highest amount, whether I can quote the lowest amount, or which component I should increase, which component I should decrease. One more thing is that how to calculate on the prescribed percentage manner. There is a kind of thing is there which we'll be looking on tomorrow. I'll be specifically concentrating on that, on what way we can spread the budget amount, on what way we can make it out. Tomorrow I'm going to address that in a specific way because most of the things which are based on the budget also sometimes.
And one more final question, sir.
Please, madam.
How do I identify the research gap?
How do I identify the research gap? Okay. I think I have said thrice in my presentation, if I remember correct. One, very clear. See, first, as I told you, first step, finding a research gap is the last step. What is the first step? Number one, take an interested area. Number two, generate an idea. Either generate an idea with the review or review and take the idea. And the next third step is prepare a statement of review of literature. In that I told you serial number, the researcher name, researcher year, title, their objectives, methodology, major findings, major suggestion, one important conclusion, future agenda for research. Like that, you open an Excel sheet, type it, and minimum 10 to 20 research article, relevant research article of your idea. You just type it. You will have it in one frame. And when you look in that frame, you will get lot of ideas. You will get lot of questions. If you get an idea, then see, oh, this person has done it, leave it. Oh, this person has done it. If your idea is not done by these people, note down separately. From there, you can generate your research title, and that generation of from that words, that is what is called as research gap. So once you find the research gap, then only you should frame that idea into a statement, and that statement will become a research title. Is it okay, madam?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, Durai?
Hello, sir. Thank you for your session, sir. It's very useful for us. I thank you for all the participation. The session will be continue as mentioned the same time tomorrow. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Durai, Mr. Dinesh,
Yeah.
madam who was taking care of it, and entire Patterson Research College committee for inviting me. And tomorrow is the most important for audience in the live as well as in the Zoom, that we are going to exactly concentrate with these inputs, what exactly the real format of UGC Stride and ICSSR Impress, how to apply. And please prepare today, please prepare that one page with title, objectives, methodology, and chapter design. Thanks a lot. Thanks to everyone. Nandri.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Dr. Durai Arisan and Dr. Vel Murugan for highlighting our participants today. And then it's all around. We have around 1,500 views. 1,500 people have watched in YouTube, and then around more than 40 people have been part of the Zoom network. And maybe by the end of today and before early morning, it'll reach more than 2,000 people. The views,
Wow.
I think once they reach, because 1,500 participants was watching live until the last minute. So it was around 1,350 until the last minute. So thank you for your inputs. When we receive great comments in the feedback form and many questions in the feedback form. So thank you for taking your time. So energy and passion for sharing your information. And thank you, Dr. Durai, for associating with us. It's a nice opportunity to collaborate with you. And thank you everyone who's watching in YouTube and also watching in the Zoom. So you can highlight on the assignments part and the feedback form part, so that many people are asking in the YouTube. So that if you clarify that, Dr. Durai Arisan, it will be helpful for them. Dr. Durai, sir, you're there?
I
Yeah.
think he has muted his mic.
Yeah. I guess I think you're sending the feedback form by email. I guess for the registered participants, they're sending the feedback form by email, and the session 2 will be continuing tomorrow at 4 o'clock. So thank you so much, everyone. So for supporting, thank you so much.